Hey y'all, this is my digital recreation of Girl with a Pearl Earring by Johannes Vermeer. Probably one of the most iconic paintings in art history. Some even call it the Mona Lisa of the North. It's deceptively simple, but there's a real magic in how it captures light, mood, and mystery. He's known to be one of the greatest painters in capturing the way the light reflects on people and objects with photograph-like accuracy, and there's a lot of theories on how he did that, and I'll get into that in a bit. Vermeer painted this in the 1600s in Delft, in the Netherlands. What's wild is that in his lifetime, he wasn't particularly famous. He wasn't very well known. In fact, there's no photographs and no one knows for sure what he actually looked like. He left behind only 36 paintings, and for a long time his work was sort of forgotten. Today he's considered one of the greatest masters of light and composition. There's no confirmed portraits of Vermeer, no self-portraits, and no reliable written description. The man who painted some of the most intimate human images in history is still kind of a ghost. Girl with a Pearl Earring isn't actually a portrait, it's what's called a tronie. That's a Dutch term for a character study. Not meant to depict a real person, but a type, an expression, and a mood. And yet the way she looks at us, it looks personal, like she knows something we don't. There's an emotional presence that still resonates 100 years later. When I recreated this in Procreate, I tried to stay true to what Vermeer painted. That means using soft edges, subtle value shifts, and lots of digital layering of color and usage of the smudge tool. You just want to place color down and smudge as you go. Smudge and blend. That's the key with this type of painting. And then work into the edges. So I would say that the most important elements are placing color, blending, smudging, and edges, sharpening edges. Vermeer's light is always diffused, no harsh contrasts, just gentle transitions. You see it especially in her skin and the turban, where warm and cool tones meet softly. The softness is one of his signatures. I used soft airbrushes and texture brushes in Procreate to simulate that effect. There's a popular theory that Vermeer used a camera obscura, a type of early optical device that could project an image onto a surface using light through a lens or mirror. It's kind of like a 17th century projector. It doesn't mean he traced, but he might have used it to study how light behaves, especially the fall off of highlights and shadows. Because if you look at his contemporaries, no one quite captured light the way Vermeer captured light. This was demonstrated in a documentary called Tim's Vermeer. I watched this documentary on a plane one time. It's about a man who wasn't a professional painter or artist who used the camera obscura technique to try to recreate a Vermeer using a system of mirrors and lenses. And it looked shockingly close. It was kind of enough to convince me that Vermeer likely used this method. And it just shows how painting techniques and painting methods change over time with technology. Nowadays, you're not going to always be able to afford to have a model sit for you for 40 hours a week. And so most artists work from photographic references now. And you'll notice if you work from a photograph versus working from life, you're going to have subtle color changes, subtle value changes, and that's also why it's difficult to start a painting with a live model and complete it with a photograph. And even though we'll never likely fully decode Vermeer's technique, studying this makes you slow down and really see how light wraps around form. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this time lapse or learned something new about Vermeer, feel free to like and subscribe. I've also got a Patreon now, so if you like what I do, please consider donating to the Patreon. I've got more classical studies and original portraits on the way, as well as my art, music theory, and programming videos, so stay tuned.